My name is Jonty Tan, a Singaporean-born Brit who has recently moved back to my country of birth. Over the past few years, I've been on a personal journey of discovery, learning about my heritage, understanding what it is that makes Singapore feel like home, and defining the things that lean my heart towards this island country in Southeast Asia. Join me as I uncover what it is that makes me the local immigrant. Orchard Road, Singapore's main shopping district. The shade of the shopping centre buildings were once the shadows of the nutmeg trees from the orchards that gave this road its name. Locals and tourists flock here looking for newest trends, looking to bag a great deal. But I'm here for a very different reason. I often find myself saying that while my passport is British, my heart is Singaporean. Taxi drivers and local shop owners will often ask me, are you Singaporean? And I don't really know how to answer that question without starting with the words, it's complicated. I'd love to answer with a yes. So here I am on Orchard Road to speak to some local people and to find out whether they know what makes a Singaporean a Singaporean. The first thing I noticed about Singaporeans on the streets of Orchard Road was that they're incredibly shy. Hardly anyone wanted to stop and talk with me on camera, with only a handful of people stopping out of maybe 30 or 40 who I approached. The other thing I noticed was that many people who I spoke to were immigrants who called Singapore home, just like me. I recently found out that one of my friends, Ashley, having grown up abroad, also considers Singapore home. I invited her over to find out more and to discuss what I found out on Orchard Road.
So I was born in New Zealand. My parents migrated there. And when I think I was 2 years old, I came back to Singapore. And I lived here and studied here till I was 7. And I moved back to New Zealand.
So you're here for 5 years?
Yes. Went to New Zealand and that's it. And then when I was I think 27, I moved to Australia.
Australia from New Zealand, okay.
Yeah, and then I came back here 3 years ago.
So despite only spending 5 years here as a child, you still feel Singaporean?
Yes, I was actually thinking about this, and I was thinking about, you know, the hot flakes?
Yeah?
Yeah, like
amazing.
Seriously, I was like, why do I have this connection with childhood snacks that I never grew up eating in New Zealand? But I did eat them when I was younger, but without realizing that it still has this, you know, like memory that I had them. So when I saw it, I'm like, wow, and I eat it, it's like, wow, it brings back memories.
When did you realise you still felt that you felt at home here in Singapore?
I think every time I come back for holidays, so I'll come back like, so I'll come back, let's say, once in 3 years. So I hardly came back when I was young. And then I got to a point where I think I was at uni, and I had my, like, you know, I made my own money, and I said, hey, you know, I really want to go to Singapore as often as I can. So every summer holiday, I'll come back here, and I'll see my granddad, and I just felt so free, you know, and I just didn't want to, I don't know, leave. And every time I leave Singapore, I just felt like, oh man, I don't know, like I miss it.
Yeah.
You know, I just
remember like feeling every time we left, we felt like we were never ever ready to leave.
Yeah.
So yeah, so we're going to look at some videos and check out what Singaporeans say makes a Singaporean, and maybe discover whether we are Singaporeans if we really feel like we're Singaporeans.
Oh are we a fake one or real one?
Well, yeah, we'll have to find out. We don't have the passport.
No,
but
we don't. But doesn't, you know, we feel it.
Yeah. Let's see what they say. What would you say is a trait of a Singaporean?
Singlish. Singlish, yeah. Singlish.
Speaking Singlish?
Yes.
Okay.
I think there's this thing where, like, when new stores come out, we have to go and queue for it.
Oh, yes.
Oh my goodness. Like,
Say that again, when?
When new stores suddenly like come out, like for bubble tea or anything, Singaporeans just have to go and queue for it. Like we just went to.
So there's this ramen that just opened at Cathay. Like the queue is very, very long.
Yeah, we also wanted to try it, but then the queue is long. Yeah.
What do you think?
I think lining up. Okay, the lining up part where there's a new shop that opens, that is quite Singaporean.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't line up.
But you don't need it.
I'll be like, let the like hype die down, and then I'll go check it out. But I will not line up for like a few hours or even overnight.
On Sunday, Isaac is our friend who has lived the last 30 years in Australia. So I was in a queue with your husband, with Marcus. We were just talking, and he said, "What are you queuing up for?" And I said, Japanese food. This queue is long and I thought it would be good, and he just looked at me and went, I can't be bothered with that, mate.
He's
And
not
then
a
he went off, so
Singaporean.
he's not a Singaporean. But I was happy to queue up for Japanese food because it
Yeah.
looked like it was going to be good.
Yep. No, I agree with, like, you know what, like if it's a long queue, you go for it because I mean, it's good, but I don't think I will go for the first shop that opens. You know what I mean? And
Okay.
I think this is saying that the Singaporean will go for like the newest shop that opens, and you have to go and just line up and get it. You don't
Okay.
even know it's good.
You don't know if it's good, you just got to go for it. Okay.
What aspect of their heritage would a Singaporean be proud of?
Heritage. I would say the food, like the hawker culture.
That's true. Because I think even though the hawker culture is dying, Singaporeans do relate a lot to our personality about food. Everything we talk about is related to food. We have discussions and fights over which the best chicken rice, which the best laksa. So most of our weekends are just like, oh, I bring you to this place, I bring you to this other place, and then yeah, just sharing each other's favorite foods.
That is something that I'm definitely starting to do, having
Yeah.
been here for a bit longer.
Yeah.
But like, no, it's not as good here, it's better
Yes.
there.
Yeah. No, definitely.
Do you do that?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a Singaporean thing because I did it in Australia and
Okay.
even in New Zealand.
But does that mean you are Singaporean abroad?
Yeah, maybe. No, that's true.
Why do you think that is? Singaporeans have specific food. Is it because of the melting pot of different cultures and they're looking for the most genuine? All of them say they're Singaporean,
Yes.
rightly.
Yeah.
However, they know their heritage food and hold on to it.
That's okay. Well, I mean, Malaysians and Singaporeans, for example, bak kut teh, you know, what else is it? Even Chee is different.
Yeah.
The Hokkien Mee is different.
Laksa is different.
Yes, correct. So I think it's really like just, you know, well, let's talk about our food to represent what Singaporean or Malaysians are or
Okay.
different countries are, and so they'll be like, no, this is. Do you think?
You're married to a Malaysian, right?
Yes.
Do you ever argue about which is better?
I think it's just a different.
Depends on what
seasoning.
your flavours are as well.
Yes, so it's the flavors that you grew up with. You
Yeah.
know, that makes a difference. And not to say which is better, it's just what you're used to,
Okay.
right? But food definitely plays a big part in Singapore's culture.
Okay.
What would you say makes somebody a Singaporean?
Singlish, I guess. Everything is English.
Maybe that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like there's a lot of people that I don't know. I mean, like you can see like the true blue Singaporean when the way they speak English. Like it's not in a bad way, but just like somehow we can manage to like combine multiple languages into one. Like in English, there's Malay, there's Tamil,
Chinese,
there's Hokkien,
English,
Cantonese,
yeah.
everything.
Would you all say that's what makes is that what makes you guys Singaporeans?
I'll say so, yeah.
I think so,
Even
yeah.
if you compare like even Malaysians when they talk almost the kind of same phrases that we do, it's just the whole style and everything is very different. Even though we are two countries, just one border apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you speak Singlish?
I can just put the la at the back. Or if I go to a hawker centre and I'm like, Auntie, can you know, one plate of Hokkien Mee, please. I can
slip
change
into it a
it.
little
Correct. Yes.
Okay. I struggle.
Yeah.
A few of my words change a little bit
Yeah.
but more to help. It's just communication, just so that they understand me better.
That's right.
People understand me,
Yeah.
and so I get the order right.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say I don't think I understand Singlish if I was to sit in a room with my aunties, like my mum's sisters, all talking across the room towards
Yeah.
each other. I think I'll probably catch 50% of what they say. They talk quite quickly as well.
Okay.
This guy's quite interesting.
What would you say is a typical Singaporean?
Typical Singaporean is becoming like a bocap when you don't care about others and you care just for yourself.
Is bochap, is that a Singlish phrase?
Hokkien.
It's Hokkien.
Yeah.
So we've got a Tamil guy using a Hokkien phrase.
Like you can see example, there's so many where I can just pinpoint one or two, and like handicapped people where they don't really give way to them when your priority on MRTs, buses, everything, which is literally I'm sick of seeing, and this when people intend to help them, they like don't care.
That's quite an interesting one.
Yeah, it is.
I remember in 2014 when we first came on holiday with Milo, we would have him in a pram.
Yep.
And people would push in front of us in the queue of the lift to get into the lift first.
Yeah.
But over the time I've seen a huge improvement. And you can see it on the MRTs, the signs are saying, you know, stand up Susan.
Yeah, the signs is great.
They're amazing and they're like, you can see that it's something that has improved as a result as well.
Oh, definitely. I agree with you. Like when I used to come back to Singapore, you know, my uni years and young adult life, I was quite appalled by how, I guess, you know, the young people don't stand up for the elderly in the bus and the MRT, and it was quite, you know, shocking. It was quite sad. And I think what I like about the government here is that they do put, you know, like really obvious signs on the trains and buses to remind you, you know. And I think like maybe, like you said, it's getting better, and that's great. You know, I think it's
us with kids, we can't keep people on their seats. Like when we appear, and our kids aren't young. Like Aspen's 5, she's our youngest, and we'll stand in the MRT, and people will stand up and get up, and we can say no, we're just here for one stop. They refuse to sit down. They will make sure that there's an empty seat. They would rather leave a seat empty. I would use the phrase commonplace. It's commonplace now. I see. People will get up regularly to let other people sit down.
What aspect of Singapore heritage should Singaporeans be proud of?
Our nation, our nationality, and no matter how good or bad, how rich or poor, doesn't disrespect others.
That's nice. Do you agree?
I agree. I think that's what he said was very nice. I think, unity. I like what he said.
Proud of our nation.
I think that's,
Despite what he said, actually about what happened, you know, people not getting. What was the phrase he used? Bochup.
Bochup, don't care attitude,
What aspect of their heritage would a Singaporean be proud of?
I think the thing about being Singaporean, I don't think this is heritage per se, but I think Singaporeans, when we go overseas, we realize how good our government is and how great we have it in Singapore, like the architecture, the facilities, the transportation. So we all take all of this for granted until we go overseas.
Only realising once you go overseas.
I agree.
There's a lot of Singaporeans who I've experienced who have not been overseas.
They want to go overseas.
And they just complain about what is here. But having the experience of having lived in the UK, for example, and there's no complaints about the UK, it's just that it is done so well here.
It is done so
well. And
well.
I don't understand how people can complain.
I think because they, like you said, they haven't been abroad, and so they don't know. And going overseas for holiday is different to living abroad. Right? So if you go for holiday, it's fun. Right? You don't really get to, you know, experience the medical side, the politics, and, you know, everything. So I think living in New Zealand and Australia, I feel like Singapore is just so well run and efficiency great. I have nothing to complain about. I mean, it's really that good, and I always tell people that want to move overseas who lives here, I say, nah, Singapore's actually really good. Like, you've got it good here. You know, I think they just,
How do they respond to that normally?
No, I still want to move. I still want to go to Australia. I still want to move. Like, you know what this lady said about working hard? I think they've got this thing about Singapore, it's just all about working. You know, I work really hard. You know, there's no balance of life here, quality of life. So I think for them, it's all about the balance of life. And so they think that when you go overseas, it looks green. You know, it looks like I can have a balance of life. But they don't take into consideration the overall country and the government, how the government runs the country. And like, I feel safe here, you know? Suddenly, I think here is great. Like, you don't know it until you experience it.
What would you say makes someone Singaporean?
There's so many things, right? It's not just about the Singlish accent but the Singlish accent is a thing though. Whenever you go overseas, it's something that is very noticeable. Like, I think I can definitely spot a Singaporean from like anywhere if I hear them speaking. But so it's the accent, our values, like I think we're like a pretty pragmatic people, so you can tell, like, even when we go overseas.
Okay. The pragmatic and the accent. Okay.
Yeah, I think Singaporeans are very hardworking. All of us work.
Yeah.
And the other thing about...
Yeah, we are also very focused when we are given something to do. And I think that's one of the reasons why Singapore has really built itself up to what it is today. We also find that Singaporeans can be generous. Looking at the charity shows and President's Challenge, the money just keep coming in, even though in COVID times. So we can say basically Singaporeans are also quite generous. Yeah.
Nice. Generous people. They're painting a very nice picture of Singaporeans.
Yes.
Could you describe for me a typical Singaporean, in your opinion?
Yeah. Okay, we are typical Singaporeans, born and bred, 72 years here in Singapore. And I think a typical Singaporean, firstly, although they may be English educated, when they relax, they turn to Singlish. Singlish meaning they, instead of saying, no, I don't think that's right, they'll say, no lah, not right lah, that's Singlish.
We usually address seniors as uncles and aunties. So it looks like the whole of Singapore is related to each other in that sense,
Yeah.
But it's just a mark of respect that we are trained from young to address elders and seniors and as uncles and aunties.
I remember my parents referring to people as uncle and auntie in the UK when I was quite young.
Yeah.
And us just being like, what?
I know.
That's not my uncle and my auntie. Like we talked about how Singapore feels like it's so comfortable for our kids.
Yeah.
Millie and I described it as the church foyer. So like in church for us, the kids could just walk around and be friendly with everybody.
Yeah.
They felt like they knew people. They felt that people would look after them. We felt like we could just let them run off.
Yeah.
But the whole country is a little bit like that
Yeah.
for us. We feel like our kids can, we give them money to go and get a drink from the hawker centre
Yeah.
or whatever, And in the UK, they wouldn't come back with the money or a drink.
Wow.
We would imagine.
Yeah.
Or it's so uncommon that people would probably ask them, where's your mummy and your daddy? It's not safe to be out here on your own.
Agree.
And there's always, and I don't know if all parents in the UK feel it, but definitely I do, this fear of abduction.
Oh yeah, I feel it.
Right.
Yeah, I
Like-
feel it too.
Whereas here, there's none of that.
I don't feel it here too. Yeah, I agree.
What aspect of the heritage would a Singaporean be proud of?
The bilingual, multicultural or trilingual, multicultural and religious harmony that we have inherited from our forefathers. And that says a lot for Singapore, and that's why we are so happy to be here, inheriting a peaceful, caring, a country that's so cool without any natural or human-created disasters. So I believe that's one of the best heritage we can ever ask.
I love what you said about religious unity, or what was it? Religious harmony.
Yeah.
What a great phrase.
Yeah.
Like having time as someone who didn't go to church for a number of years, I really struggled with the lack of harmony
Yeah.
in the UK. There's almost a fear of other religions in the
Yeah.
UK, whereas here there's a real embrace.
Yeah.
And it's not because you necessarily embrace other people's beliefs, but you embrace people. Alright.
And we're pretty safe country. Yeah, very low crime rate. So we
All
are proud.
that-
We are proud
Yeah,
in that sense.
we consider that a good heritage.
Yeah.
I love that they consider a good heritage to be the things that the generations before have left.
Yeah.
So a safe place,
Yeah.
clean water. Like there's a huge amount of pride in what
Yeah.
has been developed as you said, the going from a fishing village to a metropolis.
Yeah.
To be able to see that as your heritage
Yes.
is really important. So
Yeah.
that in itself is so different, because even in the UK, you could talk about where it had come from hundreds of years ago
Yeah.
to where it is and how it's developed, and therefore honour
Yeah.
what has come before. But there isn't that sense of gratitude towards what has come before, and I think that's quite Singaporean in itself. Final question: what would you say makes someone a Singaporean?
Crazy over food. There's so
Crazy
much
over
food.
I love food.
Yeah, me too.
I can't help it.
Yeah, no, I love food too.
I've been trying to eat less lately, but it's just
You
definitely
can't.
not,
This
it's
is
not working.
Singapore.
Yeah, it's
You
not
gotta
good.
eat more. Just
need
live
to exercise
life.
more.
Yeah, exercise more.
Another thing that we can think of is the peculiar way of reserving your seat at the hawker center, where the word used is chope, C-H-O-P-E. It means putting your umbrella or a piece of tissue or something at where you want to sit, and then you go.
Today,
Yeah.
we went out for lunch, and I said to Millie, before we left the house, I was like, have you got a pack of tissues with you?
Yes.
She's like, yeah.
Yeah.
I said,
That's how
actually,
you.
we got a table.
Yeah,
Okay, cool. So that I'm coming. I'm
you're
getting
learning
there.
fast. Yeah.
What makes
someone a
Oh,
Singaporean?
okay. When you hear somebody speaking Singlish, or the lili la la,
there
like
again.
instead of saying
you just speak more Singlish.
item is
You know, or like.
But we're establishing that you're more Singaporean than I am.
I am more Singaporean than you, definitely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll catch up.
Yeah, you have to catch up. Yeah. Speak Singlish. That's a big one.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody has mentioned when it says what makes a Singaporean,
Yes.
every single person said
Yeah.
Singlish.
And it makes sense though. I mean, like, if you travel overseas and somebody speaks English, straight away,
You know.
like, you're from Singapore.
So I went out with some new people I hadn't really met before the other
Yeah.
night, and I explained this whole concept that my passport is British but my heart is Singaporean.
Yeah.
And
They
they
get it?
got it
They got it?
straight away.
Yeah.
And within like laughter and joking and everything,
Yeah.
but you know, I said if you cut me I'll bleed red.
Yeah. Everybody's
Which is kind of
Singaporean then.
But
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
And I just find that interesting because there is something of identity that
Yeah.
is not head knowledge. I don't know Singlish.
Mm.
I don't know the names of all the dishes that I really like to eat.
Yeah.
I'm learning our heritage quite quickly. I'm
Yeah.
picking up a lot of that, and understanding where we as a nation have come from.
Yeah.
But that's all head stuff that isn't there yet.
Yeah.
But heart-wise,
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, there's no shadow of a doubt that I am Singaporean.
Yeah.
It's been a really interesting journey so far, finding out about a people I call my family and a country I call my home. Beyond the accents and the language, the pride and the passport, I'm beginning to realise that the idea of home comes ultimately from the heart. I've discovered that I'm not alone, that the Singapore roots run deep for many who've grown up abroad. And I've also discovered even more that makes me proud of my country of birth.